to the Cinementalists. Noun, plural. Definition, those whose love for movies runs so deep, they can't help but do a podcast about them. Hosted by Colton Robertson and Joseph George.
Hello everybody, and happy Valentine's Day here from us at the Cinementalists. Today we are celebrating the holiday of love with Poetic Justice. It was released on July 23rd, 1993, written and directed by John Singleton. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. John Singleton, obviously, his claim to fame in 91 was Boys in the Hood, which we have already covered. It was a while back, a long time ago, during a 52-year journey through film on a completely different podcast. So, first time we're revisiting the man in quite some time. How'd you feel about Poetic Justice?
Oh, yeah, no, this was very, very nice with the good variety of romance movies that I'm assuming we're going to be getting for the month. This is just a one that I think is a perfect blend of kind of the black kind of focus that is kind of in every single black made film, which is kind of the crime proponent, but it's not like the main
specifically
focus
of the time. Yes. Yeah.
And this felt just it was the end. I don't know. It got me to cry just for the love and just the relationship that formed, instead of like a tragic component kind of added to it on the top. So it was like this felt a little more better in the romance vein, for sure. It feels a lot more fitting for the Valentine's Day slot here, and yeah, it was and then
I took a little bit of a risk there because I'd never seen this one. This was a first viewing for me as well. The first viewing I've had in this project, or in this new year, probably. So this was a first viewing for me as well. I'd always wanted to watch it because I love Tupac. I love Tupac, and I love John Singleton. I love Janet Jackson. It just didn't seem like there was anything that would miss for me about this movie, and nothing really did. You know, I think that you spoke to the elements that Dry Long So brings forward as well. That the violence that they face within their community, and then the drug abuse is touched on quite a bit. But again, not the focus, alcoholism, again, going back to John Singleton's Boys in the Hood, you remember that monologue from Furious Styles played by Lawrence Fishburne, where he's standing on the street corner and he's lecturing to the entire neighborhood, where he's talking about why they put liquor stores on every corner and why they put guns in our streets and why they put drugs in our streets and all that good stuff. And this continues those themes without them being the focal point. They're just a fact of life in this movie without them being the point of the movie. And I think that ends up making for a really, really tense, dramatic piece. Like at the beginning of the movie, the guy who comes up and shoots Janet Jackson's man is the same guy who shoots Ricky in Boys in the Hood, by the way, actor-wise.
No way.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a connection there.
He knows his shooter, I guess.
Yes, he does. He's like, that's the guy who's gonna shoot somebody in my movies. No, so I do agree that there is like I said during the Dry Long So episode, we're dealing with movies made by black filmmakers from 89 to 98. You think about some of the major events that happened during that time period, like the Rodney King riots in LA of 1992. This is in 1993, so this is fresh off of that. There's a tension that's always going to exist during this era of black made film, and I think that this gets it really, really right. And John Singleton is he's a really, really gifted director. I think this is also a very pretty movie, which I didn't exactly anticipate, because I love Tupac, and I actually quite enjoy Tupac as an actor, but you're looking at a movie that's led by two musicians first.
Mm-hmm.
They're not actors. They are a rapper and a singer, and that is who Tupac and Janet Jackson are. So you're not exactly expecting, a masterpiece. And I'm not saying that we got a masterpiece. But it's a damn good movie. A lot better than I kind of expected it to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just some pretty ass people. Like, it's,
oh my God.
Is it weird to call Tupac pretty? Like,
no,
dudes,
me and Emily were watching it yesterday, and she explicitly goes, "Tupac is fucking pretty." Like that's exactly the word you should use to describe Tupac.
I don't know why it goes into that realm, but his eyelashes, I feel
his
like
eyelashes are
insane.
Fucking gorgeous. His eyelashes are insane.
And I mean, it's the hat just work. Like, usually I'm not a hat kind of person, but it really does work for me. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird seeing like Tupac in action really for the first time. Like, because I've only seen like stills or like just the
music videos or some shit like that. It's not him performing. No, he's actually a pretty damn good actor. The movie Juice came out I think a year after this. Maybe the year before it. It's either 92 or 94, Juice. But damn good movie. Like one of those, again, where you wouldn't exactly expect it to have. Like, I remember watching it when I was like 13 or 14, something like that. And like watching it because Tupac was in it and being like, this is cool, Tupac's in it. Yeah, and then like I rewatched it a few months ago, wondering if it would have aged well. Like, is it actually a good movie, or did I just like it because Tupac was in it? It's actually a damn good movie. Juice is really incredible, and he is one of the best pieces of that movie. So actually a really, really talented performer, Tupac, which I never really would have expected from him. And he brings a lot to the table. He does, and he's, you can tell that Singleton didn't give Tupac and Janet Jackson the job just because they're Tupac and Janet Jackson, and he doesn't expect anything less of them just because they are musicians first. Like, they do have a lot of heavy lifting to do performance-wise, and more often than not, they really live up to it, which I really respect.
Yeah, they get pretty dang serious at points. Like his kind of child's living situation, with what is her name?
With his baby mama?
Yeah, we'll just go with baby mama. I just didn't want to go there immediately, but it's like still not. It's still, there are some tragic parts to the movie for sure. I just don't think it's as tragic as like Dry Lonzo put it, but it's more of just like, yeah, damn, the little kid just going like, I want to go too. I was like, oh my God. I was like, dude. Holy shit. And
no, it's heartbreaking. It's fascinating to capture a family dynamic as complicated as that in such a plain light. Like, one of the things that I really appreciate about the movie is that, again, there are some things that show its age, but there's a line for Tupac's character that he won't cross, which is that he won't lay his hands on a woman, which is a very bare minimum basic line. But it's still a line that in this movie is emphasized as something to be respected, because we see repeatedly people lay their hands on women. And I really love that, even though obviously, he's calling Janet Jackson a bitch to her face, and he calls Regina King a bitch, and he's talking shit at every opportunity he gets, and he's not like relatively he's a good dude. And I think that's a really, really key aspect of this movie, is kind of surrendering to the idea of the time, the place, and the people, and kind of going, this is a good guy, and this is a good woman. And another, I mentioned Regina King. This is the second year in a row she's popping up in our Valentine's Day movie. She was in If Beale Street Could Talk as the mama. So and she won an Oscar for If Beale Street Could Talk. playing the mom. So, fun little connection to our last year's Valentine's Day movie, If Beale Street Could Talk. Regina King popping up in both of them. Now next year we just got to find another romance movie with Regina King in it, and we're good.
But a Janet Jackson nominee for Best Original Song. As not quite the win,
true,
I guess, but if she has another
was an Oscar nominee for this film. That is very true. We also got a guest appearance, very, very brief appearance by the legendary poet Maya Angelou. She pops up as one of the aunties at the barbecue who's like talking about she's observing Aisha, Regina King's character, and kind of going like, she ain't
April,
married,
May,
look
June.
at this girl, she's not. Yes.
That was good. But yeah, another cookout, let's fucking go. And this one was ultimate, a whole family reunion, and just the shirts, man. I was living it up.
We not related, are we? Fucking
cousin, you're little Lucky, and he's like, he's playing it off.
Yeah, he's like he's bullshitting his ass off, and he's like, yeah, little Lucky, it's been too long since I've seen you. Yeah, it's too good, man. I love that scene. And one of the, obviously the emphasis in this movie is on Lucky and Justice. But I really love the evolution of Chicago and Aisha's story. That is what gives Lucky and Justice their contrast, obviously. Like, they work so well because they observe their friends falling apart. And I think that that's a really cool line to toe. And, yeah, Aisha struggling with alcohol. And, there's some stuff that's a little easy at points in the movie, where it's like, okay, yeah, it probably could have been written better. But, whenever she takes Aisha to the side of the road and, you got to stop this shit. It was like my mom, and we get these exposition drops where it's like, you remind me of my mom. And, and she's like, oh, I didn't realize I was hurting you. I'm sorry. She dumps it out, and that's that for the rest of the movie. That's a little easy, but I do appreciate the moment. I still appreciate it regardless, and I think that it hits the way it's supposed to. And then we pivot to Chicago being, told he's weak, so he tries to prove that he's not, and it ends up making him even worse, and you're like, okay, yeah, fuck you, Chicago. And I love that Lucky just leaves him. He's like, nope, good luck, walk to Oakland. Walk the 15 miles left to Oakland.
Yeah, actually. For Justice, it was like just kind of a joke. It was like, I'm not real. He's like, in the moment, maybe for real. But he's like, not really. We'll pick her back up. This was like, nah, dude, you're fucked. Like you're actually fucking just a piece of shit. Yeah, I was like, Aisha was kind of, there was a teeter-totter of their like relationship of like whose side I was on at any given time. Like, man, Aisha, you're not looking too good at points.
She was taking advantage of Chicago like crazy, like that sequence that's edited in the middle whenever Chicago and Lucky are outside filling up the gas tank talking while Aisha and Justice are inside talking. And they're like picking up each other's sentences where they're cutting off, and they're saying like the exact same thing in completely different perspectives, which I think is incredible. He's like, yeah, I'm hitting it every other night. Like,
he's like, and then she's like, what? She says like she's preserving, or like
rationing
rationing. Yes. Oh my god. Yeah. It was like, so, but I mean, there was a certain point where I'm just like, all right, Chicago, you just got to go. Like, I'm like, all right, dude, you just kind of blow. I don't know. And I was kind of afraid at moments. Like, they were near cliffs. They were near a very tall bridge.
I thought a push was coming or a shove. Yeah, it's just a pretty setting ultimately, which I appreciate too. But it did add a layer of tension.
Yeah. And the good old kiss, that happens there too. He just, I don't know if it is the same location, but he does just kind of pull over and take a ponder. He's just like, all right, gotta think this one over. And then, and I love that moment was very nice of the initial kind of smooch, and then she gets up and she's like, wait, Am I moving on? Am I happy?
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, I am. And then put the blanket around him too, and go back and go for more. I thought that
very,
was
very sweet.
Yeah, that was.
Well, and that's a really deft way to handle that, because there's one of my favorite depictions of kind of moving on through mourning, and pretty much the opposite of a Black Maid series, How I Met Your Mother. There's an episode at the end that we're actually, it's like How Your Mom Met Me. It's like in the last season when you've officially met the mom, and it's like her whole journey in one episode. And sorry, spoilers for How I Met Your Mother, but the premise is that she fell in love and her boyfriend died. Her boyfriend died, and then she gets in this new relationship, and she's moving on, and she's happy in this relationship, but she doesn't know how happy she is. And then he proposes to her, and she asks for a moment, like, give me a second. I need a moment. So she goes outside and she like talks to the sky, like to him, like, I think it's time that I need to move on. And it's like super moving. It's super heavy and emotional. But then she goes inside and denies this guy's proposal because he's not the one she's ready to move on for. But she is ready to move on, and this kind of woke her up to it. So, like, kind of handling moments like this where it's like, it would take a moment. It's not something that you would just dive all the way back into. It would take more than a moment, clearly. It takes a lot to get back on the horse after losing someone you love, not just to a breakup, but genuine death. And hers, Justice, watched him get shot in the head. Yeah, like that's a harrowing moment to have to almost certainly relive continually.
I don't know why I was my like, I had no red flags. I had no like walls up or anything. I'm like, oh, this is just a cute drive-in moment. Like, we're just, what a cool time capsule of the time.
Oh, and we start with Billy Zane.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. True. And he's bald. Yeah. I'm like, and it still worked, dude. It doesn't matter, bros. That's another just beautiful human being, right Billy there. Zane's gorgeous. But yeah, he plays an interesting role here,
very brief cameo role. It is a movie made for this movie. Like, it's not another movie that already exists. It's super funny that Billy Zane was like, fuck yeah, let's go, like, and obviously it's 93, so this is actually him fresh off of Twin Peaks too. He was not, he's not Titanic yet. He's not anything, like, he hasn't been in a ton of stuff. So it's also funny coming off of, like, contextually, in 93, going to the movie theater, I'm going to see the new Tupac and Janet Jackson movie by the guy who made Boys in the Hood, and then the movie starts and it's Billy Zane you're looking at. It would be pretty fucking funny.
You'd be like, wait, did I sit in the right
Did I pick the right fucking movie? And then your first clue is whenever he turns on the mood music and it's Notorious B.I.G. and you're like, okay, we're about to get there. We're good. We're good.
And then, okay, all right, we're in a drive-in.
What's your name? What's your size? As soon as you try that line, I just creep up from behind. Yeah, it's I love it.
Am I crazy? There's it feels blue dress, blue, Billy Zane, fresh out of Twin Peaks, maybe a little Blue Velvet. I don't know, but where I'm going with this, actually, for like a Lynch connection, was it just me? I don't know if it was like a network thing, but there was kind of like, when Lynch does the like frame drop or like frame skip kind of thing, or like it kind of like very juddery, and like, but only I think 2 or 3 times in the movie it does this, and it's very weird times. Like the Justice is leaving her house and she feeds her cat, and then her cat walks up, and then 2 cats walk up behind, but it like it does this weird judder skip. Did that happen for you, or was that just me, like a Wi-Fi thing?
I think it was probably just a Wi-Fi thing, because I have it on DVD.
None of that popped up.
If that happened, I didn't notice it.
Okay, because it was really weird, and I'm like, I didn't know if it was intentional or whatever, but I'm like, this is some weird Lynch shit going on right now, and I saw like
something recently that I felt very, very heavy visual influences from Blue Velvet, and I don't think it wasn't this.
Mm-hmm.
It was so Sundance does this thing now where they allow like online movie passes for their film festival. Like they have certain movies that you can buy like a $35 ticket and you get to watch it over a weekend, like at some point. Like once you start it, you have 5 hours to finish it. You basically you very expensively rent a movie that is not available anywhere else and won't be for some time, which is kind of why I view it as worth it. I feel like I'm getting something exclusive. I think it's a lot of fun. But you only get to pick one movie, and every movie you pick, it costs $35 additional. You know what I'm saying? Like it's expensive. Yeah. So I only do one. I did one last year. I did one this year. And the one I did this year was called Ha-Chan Shake Your Booty. Which is, whenever it's available. I don't know, probably not even close to on the horizon for available, because the movie that I picked last year, I don't think ever hit theaters. I think it just got quietly released to video on demand, and I don't think it's even streaming. Like you could probably just buy it, and that's that. But this one feels like one that will get like acquired by some big distributor. I feel like it's going to go to like, it feels like it would be something A24 would love to acquire and distribute. But there were so many visuals in it that I was like, oh, they're going for Isabella Rossellini and Blue Velvet here. And it's really, really, really good looking. And there's a lot of dream, surreal aspects. So I was like, yeah. Regardless, don't get me off on a Lynch tangent, because I'll just keep going. I'll just keep fucking going. But
you hit a new low though on IMDb ratings with that one. That one only has 81. I'm like, again, that's brand new, just premiered at Sundance. That's crazy. That's a very select group of people. That does feel very exclusive, actually, and very.
It's very cool to kind of be privy to something like that. Now, it's again, it's only once a year. It's it's like the last weekend of January, first weekend of February is kind of when that happens, and that's they put the tickets out a couple weeks in advance, and they do sell out, which is funny because it's online, but they even make it that exclusive. Like there's only so many movie passes per movie, which is cool.
And yeah, I guess, but to bring it back to Poetic Justice, during this time when people were going into the theater, like Tupac is already like in 90. I just don't know the timeline of when Tupac became like
Tupac is Tupac. Yeah.
Already.
Tupac
like,
kind of burst onto the scene, and Tupac's, for how iconic he is, you would not believe that he was famous for about 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Kind of popped up on the scene in 91, died in 96.
Yeah, I guess he was killed. So yeah, I guess it.
Yeah, he was shot on the Las Vegas Strip.
Oh, man, 6 years. Yeah, I guess I would have. I don't know why. In my head, I was thinking like 15 or a decade at least. For sure that he would have been in the game. But yeah, no, I've never thought of just the years. The real timeline. Yeah.
He was definitely him by this point, and he was a big selling point. The thing is that he was kind of the hot new commodity early 90s. Like it was like, holy shit, this kid's got it, because in this movie he's 22.
Oh damn. Wow.
He's young. Like he's a young guy. He burst onto the scene in 91 with Tupacalypse Now. He was 20 years old, 20 years old. I mean, he died at 25.
Man.
I think that's how old he was when he died. Like, a very, very young guy. And, it's just a really, really interesting, compelling figure. I've always been exposed to Tupac because my dad loved Tupac, like, type shit where he's like, I remember exactly where I was when I heard he died. I remember crying, like all that stuff. Like it was like a big moment in his life. Cause he was a high school senior who graduated in 1997. So like during his high school years, Tupac was the biggest, was his artist,
like Kendrick. It's like,
yeah,
oh my
exactly,
God.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a different ball game. So like, I grew up very, very exposed to Tupac and very exposed to a lot of his music, and so every Tupac documentary that's come out over the years, like we'll watch it together, and all the like the All Eyes on Me biopic about him and stuff, like all that stuff is stuff that I've indulged in, and so he's a really interesting figure that, because he was so iconic, you forget how young he was when he died and how young he got famous. So yeah, come 93, he'd already been in the movie Juice. And Juice was in 92, which was a year after Tupacalypse Now. This movie came out the same year as his second album, Strictly for My People. I will not. Yeah.
Yes.
And yes. So he released, I believe, over the course of his like actual living days, only released 4 albums.
Damn.
And now he's got like 12 or something like that, because they're all posthumous. But yeah, it was.
Okay. Man,
yeah,
wow.
Tupacalypse Now, Strictly for My, Me Against the World, and All Eyes on Me. And that's. So he only released 4 albums. He was like one of the biggest artists on the planet. He was getting into movies and stuff. And to your point a little bit ago, I think that in Juice he really shows that he has acting chops. And so I think he kept getting roles, but I think a big part of why he kept getting roles is because, again, he's fine. Like he's a great looking guy. And I think, booking him as a romantic lead is something that I think probably was kind of like, holy shit, Tupac's going to be the lead in a romance movie in 1993 is kind of a wild pull.
Like Janet Jackson and Tupac, were they ever? They were never a thing, right? Like
no, I do not believe so. And Janet Jackson's probably, I have to imagine, not substantially older, but definitely older. Because again, that's okay. She's only 5 years older than Tupac.
But I mean, man, even the aunts, were the aunties in the cookout were like, "You're a fine looking couple. Like you guys look fucking
those are
great
pretty
together."
people.
Oh yeah, and it was just, I think the movies kind of end to be like, yeah, we're just hot as shit. And I love how Janet Jackson, or we're supposed to believe that like she's too overweight, or like she needs to go on a diet or whatever, And I'm just like, no, like there's.
Well, and the way beauty standards have evolved is so asinine. Like, one of my favorite questions that pops up in 90s movies and 90s shows and all that good stuff is, does this make my butt look big? Which is now like, good.
Yeah.
Like that's now like, yeah, it does. Good job.
True.
But then it was like, does this make my butt look big? If it does, I cannot wear it. So like it's fascinating, and we're kind of in the midst of a little bit of not a little bit of a backslide. We're in the midst of what is definitely a backslide as far as body image is concerned. People are kind of reverting to the, skinny thing. Which is not healthy. Because to your point, Janet Jackson is far from an overweight woman in this movie, and is absolutely fucking magnificent.
I think phenomenal woman. I think
phenomenal woman. Yeah.
Whenever she started saying
woman phenomenally, yes.
Yeah, I was like, yes, you are. I was like, you are correct. Actually, you are quite the phenomenal woman here. And this bring back the booty. Come on, we need this is the real revolution that needs to happen among some others. But no, I think this is this is maybe where we're going wrong. I don't know. The body image. This is it's times were good. Whenever just this, I don't know. It wasn't like this. But
wasn't always like this. Yeah, I think that there's also a few points whenever they're like going back to what Moonstruck is what we watched recently. Whenever it was like Cher was like, "Oh, finally, I've been waiting." Like they were like, "Finally, I've been waiting for years to do your hair," and stuff like this. And like Janet Jackson gets a little bit of that same love, but the whole time I'm like, she looks fucking gorgeous. Like I have no idea what I have no idea what the line is here, where it all of a sudden becomes not gorgeous, but. It's
perfect for the camera too. Like I think that's why it looks so beautiful is just because we have just beautiful people on camera.
Beautiful people help, and
it is. It just
there's this one shot of her with like the bokeh lighting behind her, where like the lights are really big and blurred out, and she's like glowing in the foreground, and I'm like, that's just a beautiful, beautiful picture. And you know, I think that's something that I've given credit to a lot of black filmmakers for this, because it's something that a lot of white filmmakers don't know how to key in on, which is lighting black people at night, specifically. Like Jordan Peele, I think, is one of the best to ever do this. The way that, you know, he lights like Daniel Kaluuya outside during his smoke break in Get Out whenever the guy runs at him. Or whenever Jean Jacket is floating above him and he looks out his window or out his door, you know, like that sort of stuff. Like he really, really, really does a great job of lighting black people in a way that doesn't obscure them, you know, completely because it's dark out. And I think, again, John Singleton does an incredible job of this. I think Colleen Smith did a great job of it in Dry Long So during those like tunnel sequences whenever she's, you know, plastering on the walls or running home and running into Malik on the ground and, you know, stuff like that. But like the sequence at the end of this movie, whenever Lucky finds his cousin Khalil, and you know, you already know when they pull up and the ambulance is down the road and shit's popping off. You're like, he runs inside, the door's already wide open and shit. You're like, okay, well, you're like, man, come on now. Good. Come on now. Whole blocks running down the street and, man. And that's when Pac really gets a chance to go for it. I really like what he does in the scenes that follow that. Whenever he's sitting on the back of the truck and, you know, burying his head in his hands and then going and seeing his family, his aunt, and kind of asking what they're going to do with the equipment, his DJ equipment and stuff, and decide. And again, that's one of those things that I'm like, Lucky had never really shown any aspirations of anything beyond what he was doing. So I think that like, what I initially took as like that kind of came out of nowhere is him finally being willing to step outside his comfort zone, you know, and take a chance on something. Which is cool. I like that.
Is that like in real life? Does Tupac have like someone who, you know, like he got music equipment? Is this like a real life kind of thing?
I don't know. I actually couldn't tell you that. I don't believe so. Not in such strict terms, because Pac was always more of a writer and rapper than he was a producer or anything like that. He was very talented with a pen, but I don't know if he ever really dipped his toe into the production side of things.
Yeah, because I think there was only like, I feel like they brought it up one time, about music or something earlier in the movie. Like she was talking about poetry maybe, and then he was like, I thought it was like his uncle or someone who already passed away or something like that who had a love for music. And then like when the cousin died and it was his equipment, I was like, wait a minute, I thought this was someone else's. I was kind of a little confused at the end, and I don't know, maybe if it was just the cousin the whole time. I don't know why. I did have the idea that
I'm not sure. I think
someone
it was
already
the cousin
passed
the whole time.
away.
Yeah. I mean, there is, again, there's the heavy implication throughout the whole movie that, again, that Dry Long So really hammers home that, like, you know, how many funerals have you been to? Well, let's see, it's April 7. You know, like it's death isn't exactly something they're going to be strangers to, especially in what at the time and now story set in South Central LA in the 90s is kind of how that goes. You know, Dry Long So was set, I believe Dry Long So was set in Oakland. So again, we're dealing with West Coast culture for the time, which I think is really, really interesting. And it was it's kind of fascinating to think about California, specifically, South Central Oakland, the Bay Area, that sort of region, because that's where Boys in the Hood is set, and that's where this is set. If it's not there, it's in New York. That's kind of like where it's the opposite coasts, the East Coast versus West Coast thing. Kind of thinking about like the meccas for Black culture during that period of time, and how there's so many stories set here, and there's so many icons of culture who have been born in these places. Like Kendrick Lamar is from Compton, and like they meant, like, we get the shots of like Crenshaw Avenue, and you hear about Slauson, and like I think of like Nipsey Hussle and all sorts of like incredible rappers who are born around this place and kind of rise to fame. And I think it's really interesting conceptually that there could be so many iconic people from these places, and still there's a reputation of these places of never getting past this, like it's,
you still have to make it
at that
like,
point. Yeah. At that point, you have to acknowledge a systemic issue at hand, which is that the government outright refuses to help communities with less money, and corners people of color into those communities, and then hopes to keep them down. And that's that's not a complicated thing to wrap your head around, I don't think, which is why it's so fascinating that it seems to be for so many people.
I think it's like it can't be real because it's too bad, actually. It's like a
right. It's strange to me. It's very strange to me. Yeah, I ultimately I love this movie, and I love that, again, all those sorts of things that Dry Long So really centers on are just kind of facts of life in this movie, and they just exist in the world, and they tell a story beyond it. Because in all reality, that's more lifelike, as it were. Like, these are just facts of life, and we're still gonna live. We're still gonna fall in love, or we're still gonna fall out of love, or we're still, these sorts of things. It's very compelling.
Yeah, and like, love can just happen anywhere, and that's beautiful in itself. And then I love the contrast of love that we have with the two couples, where it's not really working on one hand at all, and then on the other hand, it's just like, just fucking get married already. Like, you're already just kind of wanting them to just propel way down the line. And yeah, I was wondering, like, when he's gonna say, like, I do have a daughter, when that was gonna come up, and he does kind of bring a good point. He's like, well, I didn't know if we were like actually gonna,
I mean, that's my, I actually think he told her right when he should have, for my money. Like, it's not exact. I don't think he'd played that wrong at all, in my opinion. And now I think that her reaction isn't entirely unfair, because it is like, damn, dog, like, now I look like I'm just going to break up with you because you. And break up, again, is a stretch, because it's like, are we even going to call this dating? Like, y'all kissed once. True. Like, it's not.
It's one road trip to Oakland. Like, actually. Like, it is just
like,
one
if that's,
road trip.
I'm like, if that's what it is, that's what it is. We call it, like, even him being like, before we go any further, I want you to know that I have a daughter. Like, that's fair. Like, that is probably the time to do that, especially considering it's not like they approached this. Well, they kind of approached it with the prospect that was like, hey, I'll hook you up with my homeboy, you hook me up with your homegirl, and that's that, But then they saw each other and were like, well, never mind about that. So, like, I think it was like I love an enemies to lovers sort of trope as well. Yes. Like, the way that they immediately have animosity, but that animosity is based on a mutual attraction, and it's kind of a refusal to admit it. Like, that's a fun trope, and I like that. I like that this gets to play with that.
Such a weird human behavior to, like, go immediately, like, hate or immediately,
neg.
but it's not even real. It's not real hate. It's just like it's like maybe you're too afraid to reveal the true emotion, so you just go with the complete opposite to like just counterbalance. Right. But yeah, it's like whenever they were like, I thought like, is this already going to end in a kiss? Like, are they already going to just like, is the arguing just going to stop randomly and then they're just going to, go right
make out.
And because there is something kind of weirdly romantic about like arguing. But in this case, I don't know, their first argument, not really that vague. No, but no, the evolution of them was just perfect the whole time.
No, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and that's what's interesting too, is that there's a lot of really heavy material in this movie. Like it's not exactly light, but I appreciate that it approaches everything with a certain, I don't know, with a certain levity, not comedy, and it's not funny, but there are moments that are funny, and that, like, again, I think it's really encompassing of handling day-to-day life, which is that, like, you have to laugh through some of the tough shit. You have to, I don't know, live, like it's really compelling, and I really love it for that reason. So I don't think it's a complicated movie. I think it's really straightforward. I actually don't have much else to say about Poetic Justice.
It was the only one thing is because I was just scrolling through the pictures of the movie. There was a core memory that it unlocked for me whenever. I think, I don't know. Yeah, I think this was at the cookout. I don't know. At least the picture, Tupac's holding a hot dog with a plate. So I think this is at the cookout. But Justice has the string or the yarn, and then like when you can weave it between your fingers and do like the you just you twist it and just do your weird. I don't know what to call that, but like I did that shit all the time I was obsessed with that shit in elementary school. Yeah. And when that came back up, it was just it was. I liked the even though it was a lot of like, oh damn, the time piece of it was these just black kind of sad, tragic aspects of life, but there were a couple of things that were like, oh damn, that shit was awesome in my childhood, or like just to capture the time, which was really nice. But...
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you. Well, and also I forgot to bring this up regarding the screenplay specifically. While there are a couple things that I said are kind of unnatural leaps in development that are kind of exposition heavy, and there's that. There are a lot of really naturalistic moments, like between Justice and her boss. Like whenever they're getting the mail and stuff, and there's an important main conversation that's happening. But then there's also like, would you mind grabbing that for me? Would you mind doing this? And they are actively doing stuff in the scene that their characters would be doing if they were working at a salon, while also maintaining the story beats that the story needs. And I think that's like, that can go by the wayside a lot with a less talented writer. And with less talented actors, it would be more obvious that they're forcing stuff into a scene to make it feel natural. And I think that's a tough line to toe, and I think they really, really nail it. It's I don't know. I like it a lot, and I'm glad I bought it physically, because it will not be the last time I watch this movie. I'm gonna watch it again for sure. And I look forward to it. I look forward to it inevitably.
It was good to finally get this under the belt. The first Tupac movie under the belt for me, but I think
gotta hit above the rim. Gotta hit
that's what
Juice.
I was gonna say. Yeah, which one's first? Is it above the rim?
Juice is definitely his best movie. I think Juice is better than this. Above the Rim is, you got to surrender to Above the Rim a little bit. Like it's a corny fucking movie, but it is good ultimately, and he's good in it. I think those might be the only 3 Pac movies I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they are. I haven't watched Nothing But Trouble. I haven't watched Gridlocked.
Why does that sound familiar?
Gang Related's got Belushi in it. Jim Belushi, who we most recently would have seen in The Return.
Yeah. James Earl Jones. What? Okay.
Yeah. Bullet. With Mickey Rourke and Adrian Brody. He's been in some stuff. It looks like he's got 7 feature films under his belt before he passed. Which is, Nothing But Trouble, directed by Dan Aykroyd. Looks like it's got Demi Moore. I don't know. I'm going to have to check that out. But yeah, Above the Rim, Juice, and Poetic Justice are the ones I've seen. And I think those are kind of the 3 that most would tell you are kind of must-watches. Loved me some Poetic Justice. Prior to... I've wanted to watch this movie for probably, let's see, what year is it? 2026? Probably 14 or 15 years ever since I heard Poetic Justice by Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Featuring Drake. As soon as I was like, Dad, have you heard the song? And he was like, have you seen the movie? And I'm like, what?
Wait, it goes deeper? Yeah, I mean,
what do you mean?
I mean, I made that revelation very, very recently. I've only known it as a Kendrick song until you were like, "All right, let's. What do you think about Poetic Justice?" And I'm like, "Huh? I told you
that a flower bloomed in a dark room. Would you trust it?" Yeah, God, that's a good song too.
The Drake feature's crazy now.
Looking back, it is very interesting. Well, what's funny too is going back to the Kendrick Lamar and Drake connection there. I'll never forget, when Drake was popping, when, Take Care came out and, Nothing Was the Same and stuff. I was 11, 12, 13. I'm core audience for Drake.
Oh, yeah.
Still now is that, but was 11, 12, 13, and he never moved on from that being his core audience. And there's a song on Take Care, Buried Alive Interlude, that I remember the first time I listened to it, I got a CD. Me and my dad got each other for Secret Santa one year, and we both got each other Take Care on CD, which is fucking hilarious. So we had 2 copies of Take Care by Drake, and we got to Buried Alive Interlude, and we were like, who the fuck is this? We could not figure out who it was, and we opened the lyric book, and we're digging through the whole thing, looking for the credits and everything, and that's the one performed by Kendrick Lamar. And it's just Kendrick Lamar. It's not featuring Drake. It's Buried Alive Interlude by Kendrick Lamar, and it was always our favorite fucking thing on that album.
That's awesome.
And we were, and I was like, we looked so hard for it, and then we found out who it was, and we were like, holy shit, of course it's Kendrick Lamar, because that's when Swimming Pools was popping. That's when, Good Kid, Mad City had just came out and everything. We were like, let's fucking go. I'm going to love this guy, and that was that. So that's a little Kendrick Lamar, tidbit amidst it all. But, I loved this movie, man. But, we'll be back next week with Do the Right Thing, directed by Spike Lee. Very, very excited. You got to wait less than a week for this one. I know you had to wait more than a week for this one, but less than a week for the next one, because this one will be next Friday. Do the Right Thing, directed by Spike Lee, and then we'll be covering the Nickel Boys to top off the month, directed by Ramel Ross, the 2024 Best Picture nominee. I'm very, very excited for that one. One of my favorites. We got a couple of my favorites ever here over the next couple weeks. They're just so exceedingly good. And before we go to Do the Right Thing, I want to remind you that when Wes Anderson premiered his wonderful story of Henry Sugar shorts at the Cannes Film Festival, he said that one of his key influences was Spike Lee. So just a little, be looking for some of that in that next week, because you'll see it. All right. But with that, I'll do a couple plugs. We'll rate this movie, and then we'll get out of here. I actually won't do a couple plugs. I've only got one plug, because our main thing I've been plugging for a year is over. Fire Pod with Me, Twin Peaks podcast. If you've never watched it, you should watch it. And then we have a podcast for you. It's called Fire Pod with Me. You can check that out. We've also got Geek with Me, which is a nerd shit podcast that's Marvel, Star Wars, DC, Game of Thrones, all fantasy, sci-fi, all that bullshit, all over there on Geek with Me. Currently, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is ongoing. We are covering it semi-weekly. along with, albums of the week and, random little stuff that we like to throw in there. But right now, the consistent thing is A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And I believe that's coming to a close here pretty soon, release-wise here. Because it's only 6 episodes. So, got that to look forward to. Geek with me. Check it out. Leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening. Download. The Sentimentalists is off to a hot start. December 2025 was our best month ever. January came 2 downloads shy of being our best month ever. So hopefully February a little shorter. I don't anticipate it getting quite there, but if you keep downloading, I'll appreciate it greatly. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's about that. What would you rate Poetic Justice on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna say, do I like it more than Dry Long So or not? I don't know. I think The Cry was better in Dry Long So, even though I think I like the aspect of how the kind of the black story is kind of just a matter of fact and just kind of in the background. I did kind of like the highlight, I don't know, of Dry Long So
I think
a little more.
Well, there's a balance there too. It's not strictly just the fact that it was a fact of life here versus it being prominent there. I think that the prominence in Dry Long So does lend itself to the narrative they're spinning a little bit more, whereas the fact of life here lends itself a little bit better to the narrative they're spinning here. So I think it's just it's just a matter of taste. And from where I sit, while I think I find Poetic Justice to be a more revisitable experience, I think Dry Long So is a better movie. But I do think they're quite comparable. My gut ends up taking me to about an 8 for Poetic Justice.
Yeah.
Like 8 on the dot.
Yeah. I was around there. I knew it was like the 7s. I was like, that seems a little harsh once I was getting into the 7s.
Yeah, I like it too much to give it the 7 something. It maybe quality wise, maybe it is in the 7s, but I like it enough to elevate it to an 8,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm there. I think I'll be in full agreement here for easy math as well. But yeah, no, a good stop along the road, and I feel like we're only these last 2 are gonna be some.
I did save the best for last. I think as far as the back half of the month, Do the Right Thing and Nickel Boys are a different animal entirely than Dry Long So and Poetic Justice. Very, very. I mean, Nickel Boys is a really big swing, and you'll know what I mean whenever we watch it. Like, it's like this is ambitious as a way to do an entire movie, but there's so we got a lot to look forward to, and I'm very, very excited. But with an 8 out of 10 and 80% on the Sentimental-o-meter, Poetic Justice is now behind us, and we look forward to the future. But yeah, with that, I think we can conclude this episode. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here, homie.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, fuck ice.